Hi everyone. Are you ready for it? You think you're really ready for Dark Souls? That's right. We are doing a Dark Souls Let's Play series now. I know I was doing Demon Souls, um, but the technical limitations of PS3 emulation eventually kind of catch up with that game for me, and it was getting just kind of very artifacty. A lot of things weren't loading in properly, and it just started falling apart, which was sad because I really wanted to do that for you. And maybe in the future, I will get a hardware external recorder thingy and hook up the PlayStation 3 and just do that. But Dark Souls 3 was cheap on Steam like a month or so ago, and I picked it up. And I figured, what the hell? Let's do a Dark Souls Let's Play. So we are gonna do Dark Souls and then Dark Souls 2, and then we'll even do Dark Souls 3 just because I never did do the DLC for that game, and maybe there's something there. We'll see. Maybe I need to reappraise Dark Souls 3. But for now, we're doing Dark Souls 1. This is the remastered version because it just works better on PC. The original one's a little fiddly, and this just I know we'll be able to get some fun. The netcode works better, so hopefully we'll get some fun invasions, because we're playing online, because it's fun that way, and frustrating. But maybe we'll do some jolly cooperation. We'll get invaded. It'll be a good time. But yeah, the netcode works much better in remastered. And hopefully it's more current, so we'll get a more lively player base. But it doesn't have the weird, once you hit 60 frames a second, things break kind of stuff that, the original Dark Souls has once you start tweaking it to run well on modern hardware. So, yeah, let's get started, right? I was testing the recording, so it's already got a character loaded in. But we're gonna start anew with a new game. And here we are in the character creator screen. And we get this lovely, the Dark Souls menu chill jam is real good. Let's just take a second. It's not Majula, but it's a good, solemn chill jam. So with Dark Souls 1, there's only one character that really comes to mind. And that is my good and pure white daughter, Derby. And, I did ask some friends who watched the Let's Plays what I should go with as a build. What would be fun for them? And naturally, friend of the show and podcaster and Let's Player extraordinaire M at M_being on Twitter, and one half of Abnormal Mapping. Said they had never seen a Faith run. And Faith in Dark Souls it's a little complicated. In Demon Souls, it really just amounts to kind of a regen build, which is fun and cool, and you can wreck shop and just have your health just constantly pulling back. But in Dark Souls, it's a little difficult because you don't always get kind of attack spells up front the way you do with a pyromancer or a sorcerer. However, you get some heal spells, you get some neat spells, you get some neat utility and healing, and eventually you get to throw motherfucking lightning bolts, which is cool. Like, you get to throw god lightning. So we're going to do that, and we're going to start off as a cleric because that gets us kind of the stats we need. And we also get to start out with a mace. And if you know me, you know that I am a hammer and mace bitch. You know, swords are great, daggers are cool, axes are fun. The bandit axe in this game does kind of rip like it kicks ass. And the bandit knife is also really good. Scimitar's okay. And like the longsword and the broadsword they're alright. But the mace, the beat stick, is where it's at for me. So we are going to go. Like we could start as depraved. They get to rock out with a hammer and a bad wooden shield, but we're gonna make this a little easier on ourselves. And we're gonna start with cleric. And what's a gift we should take? I will not be using the master key for this. We are gonna do a traditional run through where we don't sequence break all that much. I might sequence break one little bit just to make things a little easier again, but we're not going to be like going in the back way for things and like unlocking doors that we don't, you know, we shouldn't be unlocking until we are supposed to be unlocking them. The master key is cool and it's a completely valid way to play, but for this run through of the game, I think I'm gonna just leave the master key alone. I will take up the old witch's ring, because it is a gift from a witch, an ancient ring with no obvious effect. But I know what the effect is, and the effect is cool and useful. But let's take a look at these other blessings, just so we can, these gifts. So there's Goddess Blessing, which is Divine Holy Water, fully restores HP and status. That's nice. Black Firebomb explodes upon impact when thrown, more deadly than Stood Bomb. That's funny, they couldn't fit standard in there. Twin Humanities. A tiny sprite called Humanity, sometimes found on carcasses. We will learn about humanity and its purpose later. Binoculars. Binoculars used to peer at faraway sights. We can get those pretty quickly in the game, so it's not as important. Pendant. Trinket, no effect, but fond memories comfort travelers. If I remember correctly, this is like just a gag. It does fuck all. Which is wonderful. I like the idea of just picking the pendant and just like being like, yeah, it's a purely kind of an RP thing for me. The master key opens any basic lock, initial equipment for the thief, which is wild. If you just pick a thief build, like, from the start, like, you could just unlock doors that, like, in some ways kind of, like, massively trivialize some content. The Tiny Beings ring, special tribal ring. I always wanted to know who the Tiny Being is. Like, I love the Tiny Being ring. It grants a small increase to HP, which is also, I'm glad they haven't fixed that in the remaster, because that's not true. It does very, very, very minute amounts of regen, if I remember correctly. Pretty sure that's the case. It's like 1 HP, like over time for like, it's like 1 HP every like 10 seconds or something. So yeah, it's not worth it. But the Tiny Being, I want to know who the Tiny Being is. And then the Old Witch's Ring, which is what we're going to gift, is a gift from a witch. And it's an ancient ring with no obvious effect. And I wonder who the Old Witch is. It's funny because these are both very simple adjective, very simple noun constructions, but they are very evocative given how little we know and come to understand the setting. And, there are witches, there are old witches, there are small creatures, But do they line up to them, and why do they have rings, and why do they end up in our hands? So we're gonna go with the Old Witch's Ring. And our physique. Tiny head. Now we're gonna, our beautiful daughter, she's average. She's just entirely average. That's, and see, so this is the commoner. We get to pick our faces, and our faces have vaguely aligned to kind of, ethnic and racial and class regions, which is interesting, that class actually kind of comes with it an assumption of, phenotype expression. So this is a commoner, very average commoner face. And this is the Delta Farmer, commonly seen face in the five-fingered Delta. I don't think we ever find out more about the five-finger Delta, which is interesting, because I think we do learn about, at least a little bit about most of these other places. Like, we do learn about Astora to some degree. This is the beautiful face of the refined common in Astora. This is very, 1991 supermodel face, but for editorial magazine, just Dragon Scholar. Intelligent, sharp lines, but scholarly looks invite insult. So, the Thorland Cleric. Look common in Thorland, known for its stalwart clerics. So, Jubilant Katarina. Jovial features of Katarina, known for festivity and drink. This is important to remember, that Katarina might be comical black people. It's hard to say. This is one of the few dark-skinned people that show up in this menu, and they're very comical looking. They've got kind of a weird jester mouth and far too much highlighter on the cheeks and nose. It's difficult to understand what's going on here, but they're jovial features of Katarina, known for festivity and drink. And this is Karim. Ominous features associated with the Earl of Karim. Why is the default face of Karim associated with the Earl? Why does everyone in Karim look like the Earl? Who is the Earl? What is Karim? Classic Xena. Thoughtful, mature face, common in historical Xena. So this is a face that it suggests that it's been lost to time. It's historical Xena. It's not present Xena. Is Xena still around? Do these people just not look like this in Xena anymore? Why did they ever look like this? This is kind of a pearlescent fish person. Eerie Great Swamp. Great Swamp heretics face prejudice for their atypical looks. So yeah, he's kind of... The eerie swamp faces get weirder, much weirder. And the Far East Traveler, face from a distant eastern land of almond eyes and thin lips. It's always interesting to me how, this is a Japanese game, and they have presented themselves and localized this, as a Far East Traveler, and that they are the eastern land of almond eyes and thin lips, and we just kind of look at this and go, but this is clearly phenotypically Asian, and it's weird because we've got this kind of laundry list of white people, except for Jubal and Katarina, and then we get this kind of coded Asian, and then they're listed as Far Eastern Traveler, and I wonder what the I don't know. It's always interesting to me. When Final Fantasy XIV is we're gonna go to the east, and suddenly we get medieval Japan land, and it's kind of huh? Is this when we make westerns? I don't know. Anyway, it's just a random thought. We're good with Commoner because it's kind of a nice, soft, friendly face. And let's just take a look at these hairstyles. We have cleanly shaved, bald head. I really love that the default is actually the bald head. That's just kind of great. And it's a really, it's a stark look in this game. Very short. And this is just a kind of chopped up haircut with bangs, and the haircuts in this game are kind of weird. This is wavy. It's wavy. We could call it that. Straight A. It's very straightforward. Straight B with that center part. Ponytail A with little wispy bangs that kind of have some weird alopecia going on. Again, weird alopecia, but just a basic ponytail without bangs. Pigtails. Bun. Long hair, bound loosely. Braid. Long braided hair as the old nobility. So even with the hair, we're getting, some wild curled short hair. Not really. But we're going to go with straight A, because it's a very neutral haircut. And then my beautiful white daughter is kind of flax-haired. And we're going to customize a little bit because we can make her face younger. And we get some weird gender things here. But we want Derby to be just a little softer, a little friendlier. She's new to the world. She's just been born in this Dark Souls world. An hour ago, Derby didn't exist. There we go. Look how friendly she looks. And we're going to customize the hair color just a little bit by making it just a little bit brighter and a little bit, more full screen. Here we go. There, perfect. It's very neutral and kind of flax. My beautiful white daughter. And I think I wanted her cheeks to be a little bit more. Make her cheeks a little bit higher, but also a little bit softer and cherubic. There we go. Perfect. And we want her eyes to be a little smaller. She's got little non-threatening eyes. And they're about right. Yeah, that's about right. We'll put them a little closer together. Why? Because that's where Derby's eyes are. So there we go. I think that's good. We don't want to mess around too much. We could get really silly. But we don't want to get really silly. We just want to enjoy, look, our beautiful daughter, who is a level 2 cleric. I suppose, actually, let's take a look at the classes for a second and just read through them all. So we have the warrior, a fearless warrior, weapon expert, high strength and dexterity. The knight, a low-ranking knight, high HP, solid armor, not easily toppled. Wanderer, aimless wanderer, wields scimitar, high dexterity. Thief, guilt-ridden thief. I think that is always something that interests me, is that the thief is guilt-ridden. Where it's like, yeah, they do crimes, but I know a lot of people that do crimes and they're just like, I don't feel bad about it. The bandit, the savage bandit, high strength, wields heavy battle axe. They're called savage, but I don't know, they have the fanciest shit. Look at how fancy they are, and that shield is good. It's a good shield. Look at that. Not only does it look sick as hell, it resists poison really well. The hunter, the bow-wielding hunter. Okay at close range, but weak with magic, because they have low intelligence and faith. The sorcerer of Vinheim, Dragon School, casts soul sorceries. So, Vinheim is where the Dragon School is. The sorcerer of the Vinheim Dragon School. But we learned that we've seen, because we have the Dragon Scholar. So, that's interesting. I don't know. I always like that connection there, just like right off the bat. We kind of can associate a class with a face, a particular face. And also, like, we know the cleric is where the Thorland clerics. Cleric on a pilgrimage wields a mace and casts healing miracles. The pyromancer is a swamp pyromancer, casts fire spells and wields a hand axe. We can actually get a fire hand in this and learn pyromancies if we want, no matter who we are. So we didn't. This is a great class to start the game with, though. If you want to play it and you're a little, intimidated, you can't go wrong with pyromancer. The axe ain't bad, and you get to throw fireballs. A deprived, unclothed enigma, only armed with club, and old plank shield. So, we're gonna go start with the cleric, and we're all set. Derby is ready for her adventure. So let's begin. Let's begin our adventure with Derby. Okay to start the game. And now we're gonna have an opening cinematic.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire. And with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart their stone skins. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath the Scaleless betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers. And man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark sign.
So we don't... It's funny, is we
Yes,
get a whole
indeed.
cosmology.
The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world.
There's us.
This is your fate.
Hey, bro. You ever just, like, throw a body down to someone? Like, hey, what's up? I got you this corpse. So yeah, that opening is great. We get a kind of a whole kind of crash course cosmology of this game, and it tells us a lot, but it always leaves me with some questions. So the dragons are eternal. They are, seemingly immortal, but despair. Someone like him left a message here. It just says despair. But we're not ready to despair yet. We are fresh to Dark Souls. We've got some. We need to moisturize. We definitely need to moisturize, but we're gonna do okay. But the opening is always interesting to me because it says that there is a disparity once fire happens. The disparity does not happen until fire happens, but everything is gray and neutral. But the dragons are kind of ruling everything. Before fire, there's clearly a hierarchy with the dragons, which would indicate disparity. The dragons live forever. But death only comes about once disparity comes about. So of course the dragons live forever, but then doesn't everyone live forever? Why is it just the dragons? Nito is the first of the dead. Why is Nito covered in corpses? He's covered in skeletons, but he's the first of the dead. There's just, what do we mean by first of the dead? Because that would kind of, that does answer that question. It's like, who is dying? Who are these people that initially emerged to become lords of the flame? So it is we get this kind of creation myth, but also there's so many questions left by it. If we want to actually kind of poke at it, And of course, creation myths like that are not supposed to be, you can poke at them, but they're not designed to be poked at. And so in a way it works really well because a lot of world builders try and answer too many questions and don't create spaces for questions themselves or weirdnesses or inconsistencies. We need more inconsistencies. So there's this guy, and we're not going to fight him now because fuck that. People do fight him. You can fight him and you can kill him. It's a pain in the ass and not worth it. But you can do it. And there's some bonfires. There's second bonfire. Get your shield. The developer notes are always kind of interesting because they do tell you things and they're like, get your shield. Because, you know, people have shields. And we have a shield. And it's just an east-west shield. So, put that shield on. East-west shield. Wooden shield decorated with the ancient symbol of a double-headed eagle, painted yellow. Wood shields are lighter than metal shields, but with lower physical damage reduction and reduced shield stability. So this is interesting because this one lets us know that wood shields, you know, they're lighter, which is important, and they have reduced damage reduction. We'll learn more about the difference between wooden shields and metal shields later too, eventually. Decorated with the ancient symbol of a double-headed eagle, painted yellow. I wonder whose symbol that is. What does that symbol mean? And this is a straight sword hilt. We are just kind of walking around with a broken sword at the moment. The hilt of this sword, of this lost sword, was found discarded in the Undead Asylum. Only slightly better than one's bare hands and not recommended for extensive use. Be certain to find a replacement quickly. I think that this one is editorialized. You know, it's giving it actually kind of a very direct statement. It's, you know, go you wielder of this thing. I didn't equip my shield, did I? Nope. Look at that. So now we got these big ass arrows in us, but we don't mind because we're undead. So we need to equip our shield. There we go. So now we can. Yeah, there we go. So shield up. No, the skeleton went away. Where'd that skeleton go? Village corpse, mace. So I like this. You know, we've got these cleric's robes, and this like sick little satchel. Well, it's good. It's a good satchel. It's part of the robes. And now we have a mace, and that's what we want out of life because we can just. We have a beat stick. We can get a shield. See, we can see. There's a double-headed the eagle, an ancient symbol. And oh, he's coming back. Look at that. Beat stick. Oh, you can two-hand the beat stick too, which makes it even stronger. And we just get rowdy with it. That strong attack. So we don't really need the shield out right now, but we'll keep it on our back so we can two-hand that mace. Because Derby believes in power, both in power of the Lord and the power of might, which is also the power of the Lord. And so this is the Undead Asylum. This is a prison, really. But it's also called an asylum, which I like the implication there. It's definitely doing some work that, you know, about asylums and prisons, and you know, definitely linking the two of them, and that is an important linkage. Oh shit! I knew that was there too. I've known that was there for years. Don't throw that shit at me. Fucking rolling boulders. Anyway, so we rolled a boulder, but it made us this nice hole we can walk through. And then, what is this? Oh, look at he's found the God rays. God rays have found him. His fingers have tips of God.
You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I, we're both undead. Hear me out, will you? Regrettably, I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family. Thou who art undead art chosen, and thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know, and I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask, an undead favorite. Oh, and this.
Can I have your sick armor and your dope shield?
Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
You're not gonna use it. Can I have it? I mean, my shield kind of sucks.
Now I must bid farewell, and thank you.
So that's a weird saying. That's not really a saying. That's not like, you know, I have a saying in my family, and it's like, ooh, the early bird gets the worm. No, that's like a weird meditation. That's a weird prayer. That's some weird cult shit. But, you know, that's fine. He gave us some nice things. We're gonna rest the bonfire because we need to get our health back because we got hit by a giant iron ball. And so here's Derby. Derby just rested her first real bonfire. And we found this secret door over here that brought us back to it. Just very solid, you know, ironwork. As far as doors here. It's, you know, it's an asylum. You need to have those, you know, iron doors to keep people out, or in this case, in. And so we have an Estus flask now, and we've got, you know, the one thing we have a heal spell. We need a way to cast it. And we'll get a way to cast it shortly, but for now. Okay, blocked him. Oh. This is always a weird thing with Dark Souls, is the Havoc physics engine on the bodies. It's just a perverse delight. Michael Lutz had a really good Twitter thread. At Warren is Dead. Had a really good couple of tweets about that and the way Dark Souls, like, that is used in Dark Souls. So there's more developer messages. L1R1 or L1 kick. I've never like managed to like get these to work reliably. Like, and then like that's dope, but I can never. The analog sticks just don't really work that well. Maybe with an Xbox controller. Who knows? So there we got our talisman. And that allows us... So that done, I tried... Oh. That's complicated. Okay, that was almost worth it. That was extremely worth... Oh, he's... Yeah, it's just there's this weirdness where it's trying to be just like I just kind of wrecked him into the wall. It's complicated, okay? Like Dark Souls is complicated. So now we want to get our shield out, 'cause this guy's gonna shoot arrows at us. Who's gonna make sure he dies? And then this was to teach us about parrying. And then we can parry. We can try to parry. We'll give it a shot. We might die trying to parry. Yep, see? No, we didn't actually parry that time, but it doesn't really matter because we still wrecked his ass. And see, he's a more armored one. And so we're gonna drink some of our Sunny D now. There we go. Oh. So here's a door back here. It's locked. So we'll have to get a key for that sometime. And I know we're learning about the plunging attack, which is what we're going to learn about in a minute. We're going to cross through this white fog. And, oh, what's going on up here? There's that guy. See, look how good that mace is, though. Like, mace also doesn't protect you that well, though. It's not, I'm gonna run away. I'm gonna drink real fast. And, oh. Yeah, we got smacked there. Watch me just die on the first boss, like, that you're not supposed to die on. Yeah, that happened. I've been playing way too much Dragon's Dogma and Final Fantasy XIV. So now I'm, like, wildly out of practice, and I totally got careless and just died. Just absolutely ate it. But that's Dark Souls, you know? That's the fun. We're gonna die so many times, we should keep a death count. So that's one. I wonder if I should figure out a way to keep a notepad next to my desk so I can do our death count. And for now it's one. We'll see how many we get. Oh, that's right. 2 at once. Down you go. I don't need to keep my shield up, but yeah, that's right, buddy. I'm not gonna go fuck with that guy. I don't need to. So we're gonna try this again, and we're gonna hopefully live this time. Those meaty cheeks. There we go. That's how you're supposed to do that fight, because it's really easy. You don't quite get the full effect of how big and beastly and awesome he is if you do it that way, though. You do need to, like, die. You need to get him. You need to let him wreck your ass, so you get the full effect. I say making excuses for my failure to thrive there. Okay, so now, like, here we are. We've fought that Asylum demon. And what was he doing here? Who put him here? Where did he come from? And see, you know, this was the bonfire we were from. And, you know, we understand the undead. There's an undead curse. There doesn't seem to be any jailers left here. So how we ended up here and how long we've been here is a question. What does time fucking mean here? Look at this this very good Romanesque architecture going on that we'll see a lot more of. Those good, just rounded arches with those very simple designs. It's good. We're going to come back here. One thing I'm going to do is I never finished my Dark Souls photography project, so we're going to actually do that during the Let's Play. I've decided we're going to take some time out to take some photos here and there. Yeah. Good job. Go straight ahead. Thank you, developers. Thank you, messages from gods and man from far away. And so this is this weird precipice. Let's see if we can see over here. Those mountains in the distance. This is a very treacherous land. And here, this this dilapidated, cathedral. It's just all in disarray. It's kind of sad basilica. Yeah. And these are some gravestones. There's a bloodstain here. Someone was fighting something. Oh, they had a big sword. Merchant ahead. Well, there clearly isn't a merchant ahead. That's nonsense.
Give me warm. Give me soft.
Charmer ahead. And so, what is this? It's a nest with 2 eggs in it. And no one talking. There's no birds there to talk, but yet we have talking birds. They want warm and they want soft. And I think we all want that, really. Birds. You know? Tudongus doesn't want snuggly and soft. Or warm and soft. Said, we don't have warm or soft to give them just yet. Maybe we'll be back here someday. With something warm and something soft. Maybe we could have started the game with something warm and soft to give them. But we didn't. We started with a ring. And a beat stick. And so, let's just walk to the end of this precipice. It must be hidden path.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
Now, our other friend, Jackson, at Head Falls Off, the other half of Abnormal Mapping, really loves to make fun of that. But, excuse me, Jackson, you are British, and I've seen what British people have named things, and Lordran is completely in keeping with the batshit naming conventions of your people. And this is extremely European fantasy, let's be real here. In Lordran, level up and kindle at bonfires. And so here we are. We've been whisked away by some colossal bird who has taken up residence over there. See? See the bird in the back? It's perched. It's very large. Very large and very beautiful, and it's just a giant-ass bird. And here we are in the beautiful, beautiful Firelink Shrine. And I picked up a humanity from this man, who is a corpse, who's dead. I do wonder how we get to corpses. If you do not contract the undead curse, and die, but then what happened? How did this person end up here at this well? Just hunched over this well, dead. Looking withered, looking hollow. But who's this individual? This shiny, squatted man. Look at his armor. He's got this little chain links. It's quite shiny, but then when you get up close and it's like, oh, there's his armor. It's a chainmail, but it has a lovely effect from a distance. He looks like he's wearing kind of just a silver Zentai suit.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival. Let me guess. Fate of the undead, right? Well, you're not the first. But there's no salvation here. You'd have done better to rot in the Undead Asylum. But too late now. Well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are, actually, 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the Undead Church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happens. Brilliant, right? Not much to go on, but I have a feeling that won't stop you. So, off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land of the undead?
So we get our very first Dark Souls laugh. Everyone loves to comment on the sinister, cryptic laughs that Dark Souls NPCs always give you. But I feel like he's got a reason. He's told us something that, we were supposed to come here and ring the Bell of Awakening, because we have the chosen undead. But now we know that there's not just one Bell of Awakening, there's 2. And he said, guess what, buddy? One's way up in the Undead Asylum, and the other one, or the Undead Burg, and the other one's down in a place called Blight Town. And you gotta ring both. And he's like, what are you gonna do, though? You don't have any other option. He knows. We're just a poor schmuck that's been duped by a guy with a shiny, fancy shield that he didn't even give it to us, even though he knew he was going to die. But, so here we are at this big, bright, blazing bonfire in the Firelink Shrine that a large bird has dropped us off at, with no real explanation for why that even happened. We're left to wonder about that. But we've got some souls, and at the bonfire we are supposed to kindle and spend our souls and level up. And so that's what we're going to do. We can also attune magic, and we can check our covenants. We can reverse hollowing and become human. We don't want to do that just yet. Being human is complicated. It's being human makes you vulnerable. But there's Derby is resting at the bonfire now, letting the spectral heat warm her desiccated body. And we're gonna level up. So we've got a bunch of stats, and we're gonna do stuff with them, but for now we want to put some points in dexterity, and I'm gonna put another point in faith for now. There's some weapons we want to use, and we're gonna need a little bit of dexterity just so we can use that eventually. It's interesting knowing what you know ahead of time. Does help. It does save a lot of, just struggle and wasted efficiency. Like, I could dump those into faith right now, and that would not be wasted points. You're never really wasting points, especially because every point you spend does, increase your physical defenses and things like that in some small way. But ultimately, I could put a point in strength, and that would increase the damage with the mace, which is a strength weapon, or endurance will let me have slightly more stamina, and equip load, which is, the total amount of weight I can carry on my armor, on my body. Attunement, actually we're going to do attunement because that'll give us one more spell slot right off the bat. And we're going to we want 2 points in dexterity and 1 point in attunement. There we go. The attunement slots. This game, magic in Dark Souls, at least in Dark Souls 1 and 2, it works off of the kind of Vancian Dungeons and Dragons original Final Fantasy system, where you memorize spells when you rest, and you get a number of uses each time. So for each one of those spell slots you get 6 casts of a spell. So having more slots means you can remember more spells and have more casts. And so there we go. We spent our points. Good. Except we're going to confirm the reinforcement. We are reinforcing ourselves, which I think is an interesting use of language. It's not leveling up. It's not upgrading. It's reinforcement. Which isn't a word that you don't really use reinforcement like that in games. I can't think of any other ones that would have called leveling up, or even upgrading or anything like that, reinforcement. So, we've gone out of the Undead Asylum, and we found ourselves at this hazy, it's actually really beautiful. Like, Firelink Shrine is really beautiful, and the song here it's not Majula, but it still has those handbells, which I think is something like lovely and creepy, and we have the plaintive strings, but there's also those kind of weird handbells that are kind of dissonant, kind of fracturing. And then you can hear the bell off in the distance. And as I understand it, that's actually tied to when a player in the multiplayer settings, when a player actually rings the bell actually sounds in the game. So I wonder, when everyone's finally done playing Dark Souls, if that bell will just stop ringing. You come here and you sit in Firelink Shrine. Like that little ghost at a very large club. But yeah, I think we're going to stop here. We've done the Undead Asylum, we've landed here, and Derby spent some points. And what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of call it here. This kind of quick little intro to Dark Souls. And a quick little intro to Derby, and we're gonna keep adventuring in the land of lords, in Lordran, and we're gonna take photographs, and we're gonna fight bosses, and we're gonna die, and we'll be invaded. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I hope you will stick with us for this series, because I think it's gonna be a great bit of fun. And feel free to ask questions, post theories, whatever in the comments. Let's engage with Dark Souls. I'll try and, the questions and things like that pop up in the comments, I will try and answer in the next video. We'll talk about them. How about that? Fair shot? Cool. So, we're going to end here then. And be well, and don't let yourself go hollow. But if you do, remember, you're always just a bonfire away from becoming human again. All right, friends. Till next time, take care.